363. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and we're going to talk a little bit about Oathbreaker. Now hit our theme song! Hey Ryan, we're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What is going down?
Whole bunch is going down, including the amount of time and attention I have to pay attention to new formats.
Oh yeah, Oathbreaker. Did everybody shut it off yet, or?
No, they won't. We did this one other time before, and it went okay. So we're gonna do it again. But before we do it again, we have to thank our official business daddies, FusionGamingOnline.com. They are your source for all your gaming needs.
Oh yeah, all of your Oathbreaker needs when you pick up stuff because you want to build a deck.
Yeah, and if you want to, pick up stuff for a slough-off format and pay less for it, CCO Slam promo code, you're going to pay less. Always make sure you're going to buy stuff you're going to play in regular EDH because that's where the cards are going to go.
Yeah, so we've got some thoughts here, and you know what? I'm genuinely interested in Oathbreaker, and I got more interested like 100 and some episodes ago when we did the initial episode on it. I think that the format is cool. I think that I like the idea of it.
Sure.
I think that I'm dying.
Yep, I think so as well. Just don't give it to me. I can't afford to die.
But what? Yeah, I can't afford to die. How am I going to pay my bills if I'm dead?
Exactly.
I'm at a like some kind of crossroads with Oathbreaker though.
Here's where I sit. Maybe
Sure.
it will push you down one road or the other. Here's where I sit on it as a format.
Wait, well, hold on. Before we get to it. Before we get to it.
Okay.
We've got a little bit of podcast bonus business.
Oh my God.
Little bit of podcast bonus business. I'm going to tie it into Oathbreaker.
Okay.
I want people to comment on YouTube or get on the Patreon Discord or hit us up on Twitter, CCO Podcast, CCO Brando on Twitter. Let us know who your Oathbreaker and signature spell is. We'll talk about that in a second. And let us know if you're interested in playing it or testing it, I'll say in a controlled environment at like a CCO experience. Upcoming Minneapolis, Edmonton in June, Vegas in September. And if you're going to be at any of those events, let us know that you're bringing your Oathbreaker deck because we'll build them. They seem like they're easy to build, right? 60 cards, singleton, signature spell, Planeswalker is your commander, right?
Sure.
And if you're interested in playing Oathbreaker with us, let us know.
Yeah, but let us know about Mini, not Vegas or Edmonton, because we're only planning for Mini right now.
Yes.
Very important.
I have the new CCO Experience stickers and some other stickers that'll be available on the Commander Cookout store. They're on order. I'm asking if our new sticker guy can print them on foil paper.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we're starting a little bit of a give us our foils back campaign.
Yeah, I love foils.
Yeah.
I
So
aggressively foil things.
yes. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start that. The CCO Experience exclusive T-shirts are on their way for Mini and Edmonton and Vegas, even though we're only talking about Mini.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that's coming, and it's going to be a ton of fun.
Probably.
Can't wait.
It will be. It definitely will be.
Oh, yeah.
I can promise you it will be.
My favorite, not my favorite part, but one of the parts that I really like is whenever the patrons come into the house or whenever anybody who's partaking in the CCO experience beforehand, they'll message me a few days prior and they'll be like, what kind of beer do you like? Or is there any snacks or foods that you can only get in the United States? And then they bring them as like a gift.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, super fun. I like a blonde lager or a Pilsner. You like...
I'm a stout guy.
You're a stout guy. You like trying different kinds of stout.
Oh, I like sours too, especially when they have a funny name.
Yeah, they're kind of like drinking candy beer, hey?
Yeah, like if it's in Vancouver, I had Dead Frog, or if they're like
Fat Tug.
Yeah, if there's dinosaurs on the can or something,
Yeah.
If the can is just a fun color, I'll probably be interested in that as well.
Yeah. Now, last thing about the CCO experience, if you want to buy anybody going a beer, you can go to commandercookout.com, go to the store. There's a donate option. You can donate any denomination, and you can send me a message if you want to buy like Max Crandell a beer. I don't know why you'd want
Yeah, I
that,
don't know why
but
anybody wanna
if
do
you want to
that.
buy, like the Anti-Brando is one of the guys that's coming. If you want to buy him a beer because you had a nice interaction with him, like in the Patreon Discord,
Sure.
you can do that and buy him a beer. So that's what I wanted to say about that.
Fantastic.
Now we'll talk about Oathbreaker.
Okay, here's my thought.
Yeah.
Here's my thought. I have 24 commander decks.
Ooh.
I have spots for 24 commander decks in my area where I keep decks.
Okay. So you're at capacity.
I'm at capacity.
Yep.
I am not super interested in cutting one to create an Oathbreaker deck. And here's why.
Uh-huh.
Remember when Tiny Leaders was a thing?
I do, and I have a note about it.
And it was like we played one game.
I don't even think
You didn't even show up yet.
I didn't even play in the game yet.
Our group locally here, our play group, FU Smitty, FU Joel, FU Joe, me, I think there was one other person there.
Yeah.
We played one game of Tiny Leaders and immediately took our decks apart. And because it's Legacy Light, which some people enjoy, but it's not necessarily new person friendly. Because I had built a deck that was just casual. I thought it'd be fun. I built Millfolk, like Merfolk Mill.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to play for fun. And there was 2 Legacy Elf decks.
There's Elf Ball.
Yep. And exactly.
And if
like
you're playing
Elf Ball.
Legacy Merfolk of old, you probably could have contended because you would have had a bunch of free counter spells.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like what you built.
Because everything has to cost less than 3. Force of Will technically costs 6 or 5.
5.
So
Yeah.
out it goes. But
Yeah.
the point is, I think that Oathbreaker, especially with what you were saying before the show,
And I'll say it again on the show in a second.
people are looking at Oathbreaker not as like, oh, look how much fun it's going to be. They're looking at it as, let's break this wide open and have games that end on like turn 2.
Yeah.
And the ban list for the format includes most of the fast mana to try and obviously curtail that.
Yep.
But it's going to be, I'm predicting a lot of the games will just turn into a race to the bottom as far as like degeneracy goes.
Yep.
And I just don't think it's going to be as easy to find. I just want to play my fun, casual, a Johnny whatever
Cat
deck.
Tribal.
Yeah, right?
Yep.
I think it's going to be harder to do that than people probably think based on what I've heard. Because people either aren't interested because they already play Commander for fun, casual games.
Yep.
And they're not interested in just like building for a new format for some reason. Commanders or Planeswalkers as commanders aren't that interesting that they want to jump into a new format. And or they're just looking to kind of break it open. And even then, I think it's going to get dull. How many times can you Professor Onyx Chain of Smog the table before it's just not fun? Not that every game is going to be that, but that's just the example I think of off the top of my head, where you just have your infinite combo in the command zone, and your whole deck just makes 8 mana.
Essentially, it's like having 2 commanders that combo with each other.
Yeah.
Is what you could do.
Yeah, you hypothetically just, your deck, all it does, the only thing your deck does is make 8 black mana.
So let's solve this. Let's solve this. A brief history of time, and then we'll solve what you're talking about.
Hit 'em.
We'll do our best. We never solve any of the world's problems, but
No.
we do our best.
You know, we do okay, man.
In the nation, we do our best. That's all you can ask of anybody is their best job,
Yep.
right? And you said it on yesterday's regular show. You like to see people when they do a good job, whether they're the good guy or the bad guy.
Yep, I just like to see people doing their thing well.
And if it's like the CEDH versus casual thing. If you want to play CEDH, do your best job in playing it, or else you're going to get left behind.
Yep.
If you want to play casual commander, don't include the list of every deck needs them staples in your casual deck, because you want to do something fun, unique, casual, slower, themed, whatever it is, right? So the brief history of time. Oathbreaker, for the last few years, has been run by a group at conventions called Magic Kids.
I remember that. We met them in Vegas. They're good guys.
Yeah, and they have a booth. They accept donations, and at their booth, they teach kids or people. Lots of times, it's kids and parents who are learning to play. The kid is learning more how to play because maybe they half learned at school, and right. And the parents want to know, like, what is this? Can I play? Is it something we can do with our kids together?
Right.
So that's what this group's booth does.
Right.
They take donations and they teach people how to play. And what their thing that they invented or made up is Oathbreaker.
Yeah.
And 60 card singleton, right?
Yep.
Signature spell in your command zone along with your planeswalker as a commander.
Signature spell can only be played if your planeswalker commander is in play.
And signature spell is played for 2 extra mana every time you cast it because you're casting it from the command zone.
Command tax.
Yes. And I think that from, like, if I'm WotC and I'm looking at this, I think
I am getting rock hard, and we're going to get into that later.
I'm getting rock hard, and this is why. I've had WotC designer tell me right to my face that planeswalkers, both the characters and the cards that represent the characters, are one of the main selling factors or determining factors in how well a set sells is how plentiful and how powerful the planeswalkers in sets are. Mm-hmm. So if WotC designers know that, and there's a format that's kind of gaining popularity at conventions that they obviously have a vested interest in making money at, if you've looked at the price tags at recent conventions.
What, you mean because money?
Yes.
Weird, okay.
Yes. WotC would say, hey, let's capitalize on that. Yeah. And that's when we frame it like that and we say money, it sounds like we're framing it in a bad light.
Like we're being cynical. But I mean, that's how things happen.
But of course they would do that because they want to make money. Yeah. And I think everybody who listens to me knows very much that I'm all for the amount of product and more product and not worrying about it being too much, because if you don't like any of it or you can't keep up, just let it be. And if you find something in a year from now that you didn't know existed, it's like rediscovering a portion of the game. And that could be for you, Mr. or Mrs. Commander player. It could be that we get Oathbreaker products that could go in Commander decks that you just randomly find one day, and then you get to enjoy the game more because of that.
And we're going to talk about that in a few minutes too.
Well, maybe we can get into it now. What do you think this means for Magic product? Do you think that we'll get Oathbreaker cards that are designed with Oathbreaker in mind? Like
yes.
we got Commander cards in the early 2000s before the Commander precons were invented that were designed with EDH in mind. And then we got Commander precons in 2011.
And then EDH became Commander because WotC took her over.
Took her over, yeah. And I think at this point we would have to say that was a good decision.
That's fine.
For us and for WotC, of course,
yeah.
because Commander players like to spend money. Right? And then in 2019, we got the Brawl cards and precons like the Tulane, Corvald, Arcane Signet.
Yeah, Arcane Signet I think was the big Brawl Ring, as we called it at the time. Remember that one?
And regarded... That same WotC designer told me to my face that he thinks that Arcane Signet was probably a mistake. Mm-hmm. Too powerful, too easy, right?
Yeah.
Just as good as Soul Ring, arguably, even though it's not. But
it's not, but people could say that it is.
Yeah, because it gives you colored mana.
Yeah. When you go from one to the other, it's pretty good.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So if we get that kind of product and frequency and power level, we could see some real funky things coming from Oathbreaker that will very much affect things like Legacy, like Commander, and what other formats they're legal.
Yeah, what other formats they give a shit about?
So yeah,
let me hit you with this.
Yeah. Wait, they give you're insinuating that they give a shit about Legacy?
No.
Oh yeah, we're dead wrong on that.
No,
if we said that they do.
No, they do not. Let me hit you with this.
Okay.
I was thinking about this. I'm thinking about this lots.
Okay.
Well, not lots, but lots.
Enough.
So, in the Magic story right now,
yeah,
there's a theory that maybe they're kind of crushing the multiverse angle, and we've heard that maybe they're going to take a step back from printing as many Planeswalkers as they have been, because it's a lot of main characters to keep up with, etc.
Yeah, they're kind of doing like a soft story reset.
So let me hit you with this story flavor theory.
Ooh.
Let me hit you with this.
Uncle Brando's theories.
Yeah, we're gonna story time you a little bit. So Realmbreaker dies, the tree dies, because usually the good guys win, especially when it's the Phyrexians that would just
Realmbreaker dies. This is the start of the theory.
Yep.
Okay.
Realmbreaker will die, but the holes that it opened will remain open. So now walking between the planes is like walking down a hallway or climbing down a rope.
Like
You can
throwing
just-
a hot dog down a hallway.
You can just go from Ravnica to Kamigawa, and that's just how it is now.
You can just be a bro. Like me and you could just do it.
That's right.
Yes.
And for some reason, that has destabilized the fabric of the multiverse.
Oh, frick. We could have Fast and the Furious Ravnica Drift.
That's right.
Yes.
To the point where you don't want to be a planeswalker planeswalking because it could open a rift somewhere and screw shit up.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't want to do that. So, check this out. All of the planeswalkers swear an oath to not do the planeswalker gimmick.
Ooh, wow. You're good as a deep cut.
So, each set that comes out, rather than have these main character planeswalkers that show up as cards that could, in some cases, and we've seen it before,
Yep.
blow up constructed formats like Standard, because they're too good. Jace the Mind Sculptor is a good example
Like
of that.
Oko's another one.
right?
Yeah.
They just ruin the format that they're in. What they do instead, instead of the two quasi shitty commander decks that we get each set,
Yeah.
the Urza and Mishra ones aside, because they're really good.
Yeah.
Instead of getting those, what we're going to get is the two Oathbreaker decks, and they're going to focus on two of the main characters that will be planeswalkers from the story/set that they're trying to tell, with a spellbook-esque deck that backs them up. And it'll have reprints from the set that people maybe want,
Yep.
a new signature spell at the front, and just some other kind of good shit, likening to the Planeswalker decks of old where they just print a shitty 6-mana version of whatever
Yes, that's
Planeswalker
what I
card.
was thinking of.
But they'll have like an actual good card with an actual good signature spell, and then maybe not have the Planeswalker as present in the actual set. And then it makes sense from a storyline perspective, and it injects a new product into the thing that people could buy in at, and they don't have to try and build 2 or 3 100-card new decks every 2 months when they release a set. They have to do one 60-card deck, which is, and I can't stress this enough, easier.
Yes. Also, I think two things. I think all of that can make sense. I like putting a good, even possibly chase Planeswalker into a thing that you have to go to the store and spend $30 on to immediately drop $30 to get this card.
Yes.
And of course, WotC would like that,
Of course they would.
right? But also, that same $30 value chase rare Planeswalker that would normally come in booster packs might not come in booster packs now. And how do you sell booster packs? The answer could potentially be something like
Other good cards.
other good cards, but also, and hear me out on this one, you put that chase rare Planeswalker that you have to spend $30 to get the dual deck equivalent of,
Sure.
or you put that same chase rare Planeswalker card only in collector packs where you also have to spend $30 to get.
Yes, there you
right?
go.
And you can't get them in set or draft boosters. So, like, that's all theory. We're not saying that that's going to happen, but these are the kinds of things that they can do to increase profit margins at any price point, or force you to spend $30 if you want this card.
It increases profits in that also that they're printing physically less shit. Like they're printing 40 less cards in all of these pre-con decks, because you don't see starter decks and stuff really anymore. You get the 2 commander decks, and I would argue that they could replace those with these these Oathbreaker decks, and they're
I
going to
bet you we would still get commander precons.
We'll still get commander. 100%. Every year or every big set, we'll get the commander precons. But for just the 2 that you get for each set that comes out, like the obligatory 2 commander decks,
Oh yeah, like
That's
the ones
where
that
your-
are 100% reprints.
that's where your Oathbreakers pop up.
Okay,
And
yeah.
you'll get like a Planeswalker, you'll get a signature spell that might not be in the set, and then you'll get like maybe 1 or 2 new cards or
Yeah,
something. And
I
maybe with some
understand
different
now.
art or something. And
Oh
that's
yeah,
what
art themed with the Planeswalker.
Yeah,
those are the kind of little subtle nods that they can do to help move product as well. Is like if you want like Ren and 7 and your signature spell is crop rotation, well, give me like a foil alternate art crop rotation.
Yeah.
And I want that for my lands deck.
Yeah.
Right. So I either have to go to Fusion and get the single, or get the sealed product for $30.
Yeah.
And then WotC's happy because I bought this $30 thing.
Correct.
Okay.
And I could see that being something
Yeah.
that, and you can't even really be mad about it.
No, if they want you to, like, if you want to play their format, that's like a real format now.
Yeah,
You
just-
got to frickin' get the cards to play the format,
Yeah.
right? Like, you can't be mad at that. I hate playing Commander because I got to get a Commander deck. Huh? No,
Yeah.
you can't be mad if you're mad about that.
Yeah, and I really do think that would be, because again, Oathbreaker was looked at initially, and its conception point was to be an intro to newer players. And a 60 card deck with the Planeswalker signature spell business, I think that might be an easier intro teaching point to a new player. And there's less intricacies and less interactions and less everything because, and I can't stress this enough, 60 cards is fewer than 100 cards.
I got some thoughts in that in a minute, but I got to go pee. Can we go pee?
Yes. Okay. We have peed.
We did.
Not together.
No sword fighting.
No.
But no king shaming in the nation either.
If that's your thing, that's cool.
Okay, so we talk about it being like Oathbreaker being inserted into product releases, being shoehorned in intro decks and what have you.
Yes.
Now you combine that with what you had seen about how to break Oathbreaker, and all the content I've seen is like ranch your opponent with Oathbreaker, infinite Oathbreaker.
Yeah.
It
Which
seems
immediately makes me not want to play it.
it seems like CEDH Lite is what it seems like. Now,
Yes.
if you limit CEDH Lite to modern design principles, aka just cards that are legal in standard, do you think that Oathbreaker could be used as a standard competitive format for like Magic Arena or the Pro Tour? Do you see that it could go there?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it could. I think people like playing singleton formats as illustrated by EDH. It makes it easier to get your deck because you're opening packs. You're more likely to open one of something than four of something because, again, I can't stress enough that one is less than four.
Yes.
So when you're having to buy an expensive thing, buying one is less than buying four. So I could see people being excited for it. I think maybe if they had have initially brought it in as like, hey, this is going to be Oathbreaker. It's going to be a rotating format. I think they're going to wait and see if it catches on first, and then maybe they could.
Well, if they did that, if they said like Pro Tour March of the Machines is Oathbreaker standard.
Oh man.
It would catch because people would try to play it. Like you imagine like the face-to-face regional qualifier that we went to 2 weeks ago in Vancouver had, hundreds of people playing Oathbreaker standard.
Dang.
That would catch. And you couldn't do that. You couldn't do like Legacy Oathbreaker or just open just regular banned list Oathbreaker like you do with Commander because you would have people that just find the race to the bottom the most efficient and competitive way to play. Right? If you employ the modern design principles like balancing the format like they do for standard, that's how cards are designed and sets are put together, I think it could work.
Yeah.
And it makes it easy. That eliminates the ultra competitive nature of it because you're limiting the card pool to such a small pool, right?
Because standard is a small card pool.
And then it allows planeswalkers as the leaders of your deck to continue selling sets like the WotC employee had told me already happens.
Yep.
It makes easier decks to build because you only need one of anything times 60. That's freaking awesome. And planeswalkers are typically one or two colors, so mana bases aren't even hard.
And they've already I don't want to say they've proven it, but I think that we as the Commander community have shown that we're willing to buy packs.
Yes.
Right? Like, nobody cracks packs to open four ofs of anything
No,
anymore.
you go online to FusionGamingOnline.com and use CCO Slam promo code to get the fourth or the third or fourth in your play set if you need that. You don't need that if you play Oathbreaker.
That's right.
And Oathbreaker also serves as a stepping stone to Commander, the most played format and most likely the most profitable format for WotC these days.
I would imagine yes.
So I'm actually excited and intrigued.
I would be willing to
know.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine.
I would imagine that the sale of secret lairs, which are immensely lucrative for WotC, is fueled primarily by Commander players.
Could be.
I would be willing to say that in a forum where somebody could like type bad comments about me on the internet.
You think?
And I just did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
I really do think that. I don't think that secret lairs would be as profitable. Well, they'd be as profitable, but I don't think people would buy as many of them if Commander wasn't a thing.
Well, and here's the thing: if you combine that with what I had said about Oathbreaker being a standard competitive format, once your deck rotates, it's not like it's garbage anymore, because you can take your secret layers and your previous Commander precons and all the cards that you want, like, oh, I want to put a Sensei's Divining Top in my Jace the Mind Sculptor frickin' Oathbreaker deck, or whoever's in standard, right?
Sure.
I want to put this card in my Oathbreaker deck, and you can.
Yeah.
And your deck can then evolve into what is, a competitive Oathbreaker deck, or whatever final form you want to put it into. And I think that for those reasons, Oathbreaker will catch.
Yeah.
And I do want to see it be a competitive format because it's close enough to being Commander in terms of the rules and how it's played that it might be interesting to watch at a competitive level.
Might be.
And that might get a little bit of traction for things like Pro Tour streaming numbers or watching the Pro Tour happen live at Magic Cons. Because that does happen, but you're not allowed to frickin' go and watch. They don't have a viewing area.
Yeah.
You've got like thousands of people watching Command Zone live and 4 people watching the Pro Tour because they have to stand there and kind of like peek over the camera that's filming for the people that aren't even at the convention, that are not watching online when you compare to other competitive gaming channels that do have watchers. Like, give us a Pro Tour Oathbreaker format that I can sit and watch the highest level of competitive play. It's like going and watching darts. Right? Everybody knows how to play darts.
Everybody can play darts.
And everybody can play it, and everybody does play it when they drink and just want to chill out in somebody's garage like we do, right?
Yeah.
Or basement. But if I can watch darts at the highest level of competition with my bros and hold a frickin' sign that says 180 and drink beer at a Magic Fest, like, come on.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I will buy a ticket. I will buy a ticket to watch somebody play Oathbreaker competitively because it's really close to Commander. And if you can create that competitive sporting atmosphere that we're so missing now that you don't have like the huge feature match areas where people like cheer good plays and stuff, give it to me. Do it with Oathbreaker because then you get the Commander players to buy in addition to the competitive players who so want that back.
And I'm going to say this as somebody that hated watching Magic streaming of Fordov anything before Commander even existed. I was like, why would anybody watch this? And because formats like Oathbreaker, like even Brawl, Command variants.
Yes.
It doesn't boil down to, well, I've drawn all 3 of this version of Counterspell and this version of
the announcer says, like, oh, yeah, he's got that line. He sees the play. All he needs to do is untap and do this and this and this, and we already know the outcome.
Yeah.
Like 2 turns before it happens.
And yes, that can happen in singleton formats as well, but it's less likely. So there's more lines, there's more twists, there's more turns. Top decks might matter more, so it makes it more exciting to actually spectate on and watch. I might even try standard Oathbreaker once.
Ooh.
Once.
What if it's good? Maybe you'd try it some more?
Probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't. I am not competitive enough to get back into the competitive.
Yeah.
I was never competitive at a high level, but like I kept up with standard for a while,
Yeah, and
right?
you played extended when that was a thing and stuff, yeah.
Like I played other formats. I did play constructed stuff, and I was fairly good at it, but I just don't have that in. I'm here to drink beer and have fun.
Yeah, now we are drinking beers and having funners.
Yeah, I'm not a main eventer guy. I'm just not. Although it would be kind of fun. Just wants to just dream crush actually good Kyle.
Oh,
wouldn't that be great?
That's so bad.
Wouldn't that just be so good?
Oh man, actually good Kyle is our friend who's actually good at Magic.
Yes, he top 8s lots of things. He's got he's very good at Magic. That's what we call him. Actually good Kyle.
Yeah, or actually good. I think Dave Wong's actually good at Magic too, right? He's like been to the Pro Tour and stuff.
Yeah, but
if I could dink stomp Dave Wong, oh man, that would just be the nuts.
It feels pretty good beating Dave Wong at Commander. It's true. He rolls up. He's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Die!" Especially when you kill him with something ridiculous because he thinks it's funny too.
Okay, so Dave Wong. Good at Magic.
Great dude.
He cast the backside of that one frickin' card.
Oh, the Wandering Archaic?
Yeah, he cast the other side of it. I'm like, what's that card do? I'm like, what? This is the back of... What card is this the back of? Frickin' Wandering Archaic. I'm like, what is happening? You cast that, man?
What are you doing?
I had to get up and show you. Do you remember?
Yes.
I'm like, Dave Wong just cast this. And you're like, what's the back of it? Wandering Archaic. What? Why did he do?
What are you doing?
I don't even know what it does. It's like scry.
It's like everybody draws 10 cards and puts all the land in their hand into play. It's something that, why would you pay 10 for that? Or it's not, I don't know if it's 10. I think it's 6. I think it's lots. It's probably on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, which you should be. But
I'm looking it up.
Ryan's looking it up right now.
What's the turnover? Okay, it's Explore the Vast Lands.
It's a cool name.
Colorless sorcery for 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to explore some vast lands tonight after a few beer. Each player looks at the top 5 cards of their library. Reveals a land card and or instant or sorcery card from among them. Then puts the cards they revealed this way into their hand and the rest onto the bottom of the library in a random order. Then each player gains 3 life. So you draw a bunch of cards, land and sorceries and instants, and then you gain 3. Like, everybody gets that?
Why would you ever play that?
Oh man! And he did it for a reason. I'm not ragging on him because it was a bad play. Like,
it was.
The play was a fine play because he had something that made it make sense.
It's like being the first person to play the Mana Flare, right? Like, you do it for a reason, but everybody else gets to benefit the most from it before you do.
Howling Mine and stuff too, right?
Yeah.
Like, 3 players are going to draw their card before I get mine.
That's right. And you just have to, bank on the kindness of other people.
Yes.
That you just don't get your lips slapped off.
For the audio only listeners, I'm going to read Wandering Archaic now, and you tell me which side is better.
Okay.
Wandering Archaic Avatar 4/4.
Mm-hmm.
Cool picture.
Very cool.
5 mana.
Uh-huh.
Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, you may pay 2. If you don't... Oh, sorry. They may pay 2.
Yes.
If they don't, we copy the spell and choose new targets. That's a freaking good card right there. That was so good, I considered putting it in CEDH Animar, because I'm like, I'll just cast it for free, and then I'll tax them all their stuff, and I'll freaking get it.
Yeah.
Right? I don't play any searching or ramp or nothing in that deck. I play all creature ramp.
I should play Wandering Archaic in my
So if somebody casts like a rampant growth on turn 3 and I've already got this guy out for free because I turn 1 Animar, I'm like, I'll take a free rampant growth. Like, that's probably good, right?
Probably not bad.
Yeah, somebody brainstorms, I'll be like, I'll brainstorm too.
Mm-hmm.
Probably pretty good. If somebody counterspells my thing, pay 2 or else I'll counterspell your thing.
Yeah, and still get my thing.
Pretty good.
That's not a bad card at all.
He didn't end up making the cut, but it's a good card.
The moral of the story is Wandering Archaic is sweet, and I'm going to put it in my Animar deck because it's probably good. Although it's not a clone. Nah, I'm still putting it in.
Put it in.
I'm gonna cut that. There's a Quandrix, the Simic Dragon from Strixhaven. I'm gonna cut him.
Oh yeah.
Play Wandering Archaic instead.
Yeah, because he's free.
Yeah.
You're welcome. That was free from your friend.
Cool. I actually think that dragon probably is actually better in the deck. But you know what? I like this better because it's kind of a clone. Because it lets me do what you're doing.
It lets me clone your sorceries and instants.
Yeah.
Okay, you could put that spin on it.
Best Wandering Archaic play I've ever seen. Mostly because it was me doing it.
It was not Dave Wong's.
It was amazing. It was not Dave Wong's.
When you played the wrong side.
I played Wandering Archaic. Turn goes around. Buddy next to me is playing Mad Elf Ball.
Yeah.
Taps like 18.
Uh-oh.
Genesis Wave. And I say,
did you? Oh,
sir.
He didn't leave 2 open?
Would you like to pay the 2? And he goes, no. And I go, very good. And then I Genesis Wave for 18
because you get yours first.
And as I'm doing it, he's like, wait a minute. Oh, I should have paid the 2. And I was like, yes, you should have paid the 2.
Genesis Wave for 16, I guarantee would have done the same thing as Genesis Wave for 18.
Yes.
In that it would have gotten every card that you flipped.
Yes.
Yes.
You would have certainly done very well for yourself.
Yeah.
Alas, I did better for myself.
Yes.
But it was good. I like that card a lot. And I like when things like that happen. That's why I play Magic. And I won't see that in standard Oathbreaker.
No. Would you do a Genesis Wave signature spell Oathbreaker deck?
Yes, I would.
Who would? Okay, so have we solved any of the Oathbreaker problems or just articulated some thoughts for people to think about?
I think, personally, I don't think that the Oathbreaker problem exists. I think that...
You don't think I'm sitting down playing casual Oathbreaker, you're playing Cutthroat EDH Oathbreaker, and we can't agree? That's the commander problem, by the way.
Yes.
And it just also exists in Oathbreaker now, so it's just like represent your deck's power level accordingly if you want to play for fun.
I really think that Oathbreaker's either going to come out the gate and just be competitive.
Yes.
And then all the new people are going to say, nah, I don't want to do this, and the format's just going to fizzle out and die. Or it's going to be a casual fun format that inevitably morphs into something that you're going to see at a pro tour or something with like new rules to make it rotating and standard. It's going to be one of those two things. I don't think it will be both, and thus I don't think you're going to run into as many power level contradictions as you do in Commander.
Yeah, I think that people are going to say this. I think I agree. Do you want to play Oathbreaker? Yeah, who's your Oathbreaker? Narset Wheels. Yeah, frick. Okay, well, I don't... who's yours? Professor Onyx Chain of Smog. Well, okay, let's frickin' jam, right? Let's do it. Yeah. What I want to happen instead is for that to exist, because I think that's how you get players that only play Legacy and Modern.
Yeah.
That's how you get them into Oathbreaker, which is closer to Commander. Oathbreaker is going to be the gateway drug to Commander, I think.
Yeah.
And then when they play Oathbreaker and they say, well, how do I do this, but I want it to be janky, casual, but I keep getting stomped? Welcome to Commander, Mr. Oathbreaker.
Let me tell you how you do it. You take that same pile of 60 cards.
Add 40 more.
And add 40 more. And then you have, and this is mathematically true, more cards. And therefore less chances you're going to draw the same shit every game.
Yes. I think that you're going to get players from other competitive constructed formats into Oathbreaker, and you could see them transfer to Commander, or at the very least to competitive Commander, which is still more Commander players, which is good for everybody who is interested in Commander. That's us, CCO Nation, and WotC.
Correct.
I think as a result of competitive players being interested in it, you could see it as a sanctioned competitive format, and I so want that.
Yeah, I think
as per everything I already said.
It would be a spin-off of the people are drawn to it to try it initially, and you gotta hook and hold the new people, then you're going to see that evolution. If it starts off with like what the content right now is showing, I don't think people are going to be into that. And it'll go the same way as Brawl does, and it'll end up as some kind of tertiary arena thing.
And I want one final thing. I want it to stay true to why it was invented and still be a format that can usher in new players and kids and their parents because they open up one booster box that their dad got them for their birthday, and they can build 2 or 3 different Oathbreaker decks, even if they have to go to an LGS and buy a couple single Planeswalkers because they didn't get enough in their booster box.
I'll bet you could even do that.
Yes, that's... Frick, I bet you can. You buy one set booster, you can build 2 or 3 Oathbreaker decks, and they'll be low powered because you got to spread your cards across the different color identities. You might need to go buy a Planeswalker or 2, but you can make 2 or 3 decks for your kid and you and their friend, and you can all play. And you're going to see those Oathbreaker decks over time evolve into good, long-lasting, forever decks like we've spent so much time on over the last month. You might see them evolve into Commander decks. You might see them evolve into my 60-card completely foil pimp Oathbreaker decks. You might see them evolve into I randomly opened Narset Parter of Veils in my booster box and built an Oathbreaker deck, and now I play competitive standard Oathbreaker. And all of that is good, and I hope that all of that happens.
Do you think that Oathbreaker, standard Oathbreaker as we've defined it, could it be the very first format ever that you could buy one set booster box, crack every pack in it, and have
a competitive standard deck?
A complete standard deck?
I hope
Virtually a complete... It could happen.
That's
a thing that could happen.
That's a fantastic way to sell a booster box to somebody who otherwise would not buy one.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy a booster box of Phyrexia All Will Be One.
Yep.
And that's the start of my Oathbreaker deck. Then March of the Machine comes out, booster box, upgrade my Oathbreaker deck. What's after that?
March of the Machines 2.
March of the Machines, but those are little 5-card packs. Those don't count. The Ixalan, whatever, at the end of the year, upgrade my Oathbreaker deck.
Yeah.
All Will Be One rotates out.
Yep.
Right? That is a fantastic way to keep a format affordable because I don't need 4 of them.
Yeah.
I just need 1 of them.
How many times have we said it in this episode?
Less than 4 is 1.
Yes.
Less than 100 is 60.
Yes.
Yes, very
Math.
good. We've said what we want. We've said what we think. Who would your Oathbreaker be? Who would your signature spell be? Who's your first one that you'd build?
First one I would build, Xenagos the Reveler,
Yep.
Genesis Wave.
Xenagos Genesis
Yep.
Wave.
And it would be a token-based deck, all permanents.
Yep.
And all the permanents would make more tokens, and then I could use Xenagos to make a bunch of mana to power out a great big Genesis Wave. And then win.
Does your Oathbreaker count as your commander for cards that say, if you control your commander, blah, blah, blah?
I assume so.
I assume it has to, right?
It must.
Because you cast him from the command zone.
Yes.
I'm going to pretend that that's the case.
Yes.
I'm going to go...
Man, if you say something deflecting SWAT, you're scum.
I'd be a deflecting twat.
Yes.
No, I'm going to go there. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say new Phyrexian Jace.
Okay.
And Drowned in Dreams.
Ooh.
The mill twice X one.
Yep.
Because I just want to play freaking mono blue and
mono
mill. I just want to play mill. I just want to play mill because I'm still. Yeah.
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 See, both of those decks, I bet you would be fun.
And be fine.
Yeah.
And your deck would win in a very distinct way, and mine would try its hardest to win in a very distinct way. So I guess let us know in the comments, let us know on Twitter, let us know in the Discord, maybe even in any of the decklist channels if you're building an Oathbreaker deck. Frick, we can even set up an Oathbreaker channel right in the Patreon Discord. If people are interested in that, you let us know because, again, I'm intrigued by the format because of what it could mean for casual and competitive play.
And
I'm very interested.
Bringing new people to our format.
The gateway drug to commander. I'm very interested in that as well.
Like, I don't care if people play Oathbreaker unless it means more people are going to play EDH with me.
Yes.
That's what I want. And if Oathbreaker makes that happen, I am 100% for it.
It's kind of exciting to think about,
Yeah,
really.
And if Oathbreaker makes Standard actually interesting to people who don't play it,
can you
I'm
imagine?
so down for that.
Can you imagine, like, okay, you know when this is the last thing. You know when we go to these events and like actually Good Kyle's there and he's telling us a bad beat or telling us what he's playing and he's describing like his mono white deck. It beats Grixis, but it's a little bit medium against mono blue or the haste red deck, and we're listening to these little mini tournament reports and stories and stuff that are genuinely interesting because we understand that language and we know what competitive Standard is like.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Except what they're doing is like they're playing Commander. Yeah. So they've got one of any card and they draw it and they tell us about it.
Yep.
And just the feeling that gives you when they are doing competitively limited because it's just a standard size card pool in a limited capacity. They're doing the same thing that we are. And this could be the evolution of Magic if Oathbreaker becomes a competitive format.
That'd be cool.
And I hope we do all this and we say all this and WotC hasn't said somewhere that it's never going to be a competitive format. I hope that they didn't already announce that because I haven't read it anywhere.
But I haven't. And if they do say that, WotC, you're dumb. We
dumb.
just solved your problem.
We did.
Did
we actually solve a real world Magic community problem on a bonus episode?
Yeah, we did. We
Holy
actually
crap.
did. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty
hey?
good.
Pat on the backs for us.
363 episodes later, we finally done it.
We knew we'd get there eventually, and we're happy that you all came along for the ride with us. If you're going to build Oathbreaker, let us know anywhere you can talk to us. We might not do actual content on it, but we'd still love to hear about it. And if we have to be dragged kicking and screaming into building Oathbreaker decks, I will do it.
Oh man, no!
If I have to.
New suburb in CCO Nation, CC Oathbreaker.
I like that.
There we go.
I like that.
That's a whole new channel. We're starting it.
It's a whole new thing. And yes, I will do Xenagos Genesis Wave if I really have to. So let me know if I have to, because I'll need some time to foil that shit up.
Yeah. Where are they going to pick up cards if they got to build an Oathbreaker deck?
You're going to pick up Oathbreaker cards from FusionGamingOnline.com. They're our official business daddies and the best way to support the show and to save 5% of all the stuff that you're going to buy anyway. So go do it. Let them know that their partnership with us is a good one.
You got to use CCO Slam promo code to do that.
Yes, that's what I said. In my mind.
Yes.
That's in my brain. I said all that stuff. Yep. And outside of my brain, I'm also going to say that we're going to see you guys right here for another exciting episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song!